Hey ladies and gentlemen, Stephen here from Redolessence and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it and I hope you're all keeping safe. In today's episode, I'm going to be going over 5 fragrances that I purchased this year in 2020 that I could have saved my money on. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I tell you what these top 5 fragrances are that I purchased in 2020 that I could have skipped over, I could have saved my money on these fragrances, I didn't have to buy them. And for one reason or another, I just feel like I'm not going to wear them or I don't really like them as much as I was hoping to. Before I reveal what they are, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews here on YouTube, but also top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and pretty much anything having to do with fragrances, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner. I would really appreciate it. And of course, while you're at it, please make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell. This way, whenever I do put out these videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. So I think we've all been there. We all know what it's like. We all know the feeling. You're in a department store, you see a brand new release, your eyes light up, right? They're sparkling and you say, wow, I gotta have this, right? Especially somebody like myself, I am a fragrance aficionado. I am a collector. I'm so passionate about this. I have 2,000 fragrances in my collection. And every time I go to Macy's or Sephora or Nordstrom or Bergdorf Goodman, if I see something that I don't have, it's kind of like FOMO, right? I need to buy that fragrance. It needs to be in my collection. And I always have this urge or this impulse to review it for my subscribers. This is a very expensive hobby and I'm still in the red when it comes to my fragrance purchasing. But in any case, these are 5 fragrances that I purchased this year in 2020 that for one reason or another, I just don't wear them or I don't like them or I feel like that money could have been better spent somewhere else. So anyway, let's go ahead and start the list. And the first fragrance that I want to talk about is by Bath & Body Works. This one is called Marble. So I was actually chatting with a coworker and he told me about this fragrance. He says, hey, I went to the local mall. I saw that they had a new men's fragrance and apparently they have another new one called Coast. I'm going to be reviewing that one soon as well. And in the case of this fragrance, I found that I am a fan of a lot of their fragrances. I like mahogany woods. I like oak. Noir was pretty interesting as well. I have a lot of their originals, which also includes citron, white citrus, Paris, classic, so on and so forth. And then I even have Atlantic and bourbon. And you guys have watched my channel for some time now. You know that I've reviewed a lot of Bath & Body Works fragrances, but this one is very plain. It's very plain. It's simple. It has a compliment factor. It has a mass appeal factor. And it also has the affordability working in its favor. So if you are a fan of fragrances that are in the $40 range and you want something that smells good, smells decent, would make for a great gift, especially for somebody who's just starting out into the world of fragrances, check this one out, But for me personally, I have a lot of fragrances that kind of go in this territory or in this wheelhouse, and this was a superfluous purchase on my end. The next fragrance is one that I'm still not loving. I think it does really well when it comes to compliments. I think there's another one that does probably a little bit better. This one by Thierry Mugler is called Alien Man Mirage. So Alien Man Fusion is the one that kind of goes in this Invictus Aqua territory. And so it possesses a DNA that does pretty well. And people enjoy it, people like it, they'll compliment you on it. It has this underlying sweetness about it. With Mirage, there is something a little peculiar going on in here. It still has that undertone of sweetness and it has that herbal and aromatic opening with that note of dillweed. And so I do find it to be quite a quirky composition, but from the house of Thierry Mugler, I will go with Amen all day, right? Whether we're talking about pure malt, pure Havane, pure coffee, pure wood, ultra zest, cryptomint, so on and so forth. Angel Men is really the line that I love from this company. And so with Alien, I think I was expecting something a little bit different, especially considering that jasmine and indolic quality that the women's version gives forth. This one is quite a deviation from that, and I'm really not a fan of this fragrance. So it's one that I felt like I could have saved my money on, but thankfully a few people watched my review and I hope it brought value. The next fragrance is by the company Zara and it's called Agate Black. Right? So we have 3 fragrances in this collection. The only one really worth purchasing if you're a connoisseur of fragrances is Warm Black. That one kind of has this tobacco vanille and spice bomb quality about it. And that's also the only one that, in my opinion, is really appropriate for this time of the year. This one, Agate Black, it kind of has this Creed Aventus Dior Sauvage thing with a dry down of like Bleu de Chanel or Versace Dylan Blue. It kind of has this commercial mass appealing quality about it. And I find that, hey, for that reason alone, people might really enjoy it, especially considering the fact that it costs $17.90. You might really end up liking this one. But warm black is really where it's at. I love warm black. I love the heaviness of it, the booziness, that tobacco quality, that fruity quality, the resins that are used in the base. This one, it just sort of conveys the DNA that you've smelled a dozen times before, and so it might not be of much interest to you. However, same thing that I said about Marble also applies in the case of this fragrance. If you're buying it for somebody who's just getting into fragrances, you want to buy something that's safe, easy to wear, mass appealing, definitely check this one out. I think you might really enjoy this one, but my favorite of the three is Warm Black. So the next one in this list that I want to talk about is by Montblanc, and this is called Legend Eau de Parfum. Now here's the thing, do I think this is a better version of the original? Yes, I do. Do I think it smells different? Not necessarily. Is this going to give you an extra hour or two of longevity? No, not really. But I purchased this with myself already having the original. So because I already have the original Eau de Toilette, I didn't necessarily need to buy this one. You know, I think Legend Night is awesome. Legend Intense with that fruitiness in the opening, the pineapple is also great. And a part of me really prefers those two over the original or even the Eau de Parfum. However, I do find that this is an improved version of the Eau de Toilette. And so for that reason, you know, if I didn't have either one, I would definitely purchase this one before I purchased the Eau de Toilette. But I do find that in many cases, it was a redundant purchase. But again, you know, if you're looking for a fragrance that just came out, if you don't have the original, you're a fan of these sort of barbershop contemporary lavender fragrances, you might end up really enjoying this one, especially if you've smelled fragrances like Abercrombie & Fitch's Fierce and you're a fan of the way that that one smells and you want something that's within a similar DNA but performs really well, then definitely check this one out. But like I said, I have Fierce, I have the original, the Eau de Toilette, and a part of me also prefers the night version and also the intense version. So I didn't really need this one. I purchased it for you guys. And the last fragrance that I want to talk about is one that comes from a notorious lineup. We've seen they have released tons of fragrances in this collection, and I have purchased every single one of them, and I have my favorite, which I will be revealing throughout the course of this video. But the next one and the final fragrance on this list is by Paco Rabanne, and this one is called 1 Million Parfums. Now, there is something about this fragrance that I like. I will admit that. It kind of retains its sweetness, a very different sweetness, not bubblegummy like the original 1 Million by Paco Rabanne, but it has a sweetness that is more in terms of the sweetness you're going to find from Azzaro's Wanted by Night by Azzaro. So in the case of this fragrance, I feel like it is sweet. It's sweet in a different way from other 1 Million fragrances. However, it's sweet in a similar way that I have smelled in fragrances before. And my personal favorite is 1 Million Privé. It has the myrrh, it has the incense, it has that resinous quality. The sweetness has been subdued, but it's still there. It's such an awesome fragrance, and it's still one of my favorites of all time. And I even said, I think it's a great date night fragrance. It's actually one of the best date night fragrances out there. There's an air of mysteriousness about it. I really love 1 Million Privé. 1 Million Lucky is probably what I would recommend for somebody who wants that 1 Million DNA, but they want a brighter and fresher and more versatile version of it. And perhaps for somebody who's also getting tired of that 1 Million DNA, because you guys know 1 Million has been around for many years now. Even when we're talking about that rosiness and the rosy quality of 1 Million Intense, I think even that is quite similar to the original while still kind of doing its own thing. But 1 Million Privé really did something different. I love the way that that one smells. And with 1 Million Parfum, you know, you think about what a lot of other companies are doing. You know, they have the Eau de Toilette, they have the Eau de Parfum, and the Pure Parfum. Christian Dior did it with Dior Sauvage, Chanel did it with Bleu de Chanel, and then here I kind of was under that impression that this was going to be a stronger or a parfum concentration of the original, but that's definitely not what you're getting here. It is a completely reinvented fragrance, different formula, different DNA, so do not blind buy this one. If you're a fan of the original, definitely go out there, smell it for yourself, because chances are you might end up liking it, you might end up not really caring about it too much. And for me, I find that it was a superfluous purchase. In the case of a lot of these, this one was superfluous for me. So was this one. So was this one in regards to the other fragrances that I own that smell similar to it. But these are all fragrances that I really could have done without, but I'm really happy that I've reviewed all of them. So I put them to use on the Redolessence channel. And I hope that you took something of value from all of my individual reviews, as well as this one top 5 review here. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. That was my top 5 fragrances that I didn't need to spend my money on in 2020. I could have skipped over these fragrances, but again, I hope you took something of value from these videos. And if you took value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you could support this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner. And of course, while you're at it, I would really appreciate it if you could enable notifications by clicking on the bell. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.